In this lesson, we will see how to use the new operator to create a double-dimensional array. Let's say I want to create an int array of dimensions 3 by 2 and I want to name it ARR. First, I will declare a double-dimensional array variable like this. Then, I will create the array with the new operator like this. I can perform both these steps with a single statement like this. This will create a 3 by 2 double-dimensional array and initialize all its elements to 0. The journal syntax of creating a double-dimensional array with new operator is this. It is like single-dimensional array, just that in this case we must provide one more dimension. Now that our double-dimensional array is created, next step is to assign its elements some values. Again, this is similar to assigning values to the elements of a single-dimensional array. In single-dimensional array case, we used to mention a single subscript, but now, as we have two dimensions, we must mention two subscripts. This statement, ARR of 0, 0 equal to 1, will assign the value of 1 to the element of ARR at index 0, 0. This statement, ARR of 0, 1 equal to 3, will assign the value of 3 to the element of ARR at index 0, 1. Similarly, ARR of 1, 0 equal to 5 will assign the value of 5 to the element at index 1, 0. ARR of 1, 1 equal to 7 assigns the value of 7 to the element at index 1, 1. ARR of 2, 0 equal to 9 assigns 9 to the element at index 2, 0. And lastly, ARR of 2, 1 equal to 11 assigns 11 to the last element of the array at the index 2, 1. We have seen how to create a double-dimensional array using new operator and how to assign a value to each of its elements. Now let's understand how we can store user input into a double-dimensional array. I will continue with our 3 by 2 int array ARR for explaining user input as well. For a double-dimensional array, we usually store the values provided by the user row-wise. I know this last statement that I said about storing user input row-wise in the double-dimensional array didn't make much sense to you. But don't worry, stay with me and I will make you understand what it means. Our array ARR can hold 3 into 2, which is equal to 6 numbers. So I will ask the user to input 6 numbers. I will take these inputs one by one from the user. Let's say user enters 1. I will place this 1 here. Next, user enters 3. I will place this 3 here in the second column of the first row. Now the first row is filled, so I will move to the next row. Let's say user enters 5 this time. It will go here. Similarly, I will store the remaining 3 values as well. So I started with the first row, then I filled the second row, and after that I filled the third row. This is what I meant by storing the values provided by the user row-wise. I hope now you understand it clearly. Now we will write a program to accept the dimensions and elements of a double-dimensional array from the user and display the double-dimensional array in matrix form. I will switch to BlueJ now. I have already created this class, imported scanner and created its object. Let's start by asking the user to enter the rows and columns of the 2D array and storing it into int variables in our program. Now that we have the dimensions of the 2D array, let's create it. First mention the data type of the array. As I want an integer array, so I am writing int. Next, I will give the name of the array variable as ARR. After that, 2 pairs of square brackets to tell the compiler that we intend to declare a double-dimensional array. Then the new operator. Now tell the new operator about the data type of our array like this. After that, mention the number of rows that we would like our array to have. Then, the number of columns. So far, we have asked the user about the dimensions of the array and created it using the new operator. Next, we will ask the user to enter the elements of the array and store it row-wise. First, let's display a message to the user asking him to enter the elements of the array. Next, like printing the array in matrix form that we saw in the previous lesson, here too we will use two nested for loops. The outer loop is for the rows of the array, so we will write it like this. For int I equal to 0. Remember, array index starts at 0, not 1. I will be less than rows I plus plus. The inner loop is for columns. I will write it like this. For int j equal to 0, j should be less than number of columns, j plus plus. Now inside the inner loop, we will write the array elements like this. First subscript is for the row, so I will write I. Second subscript is for the column, so I will write j. This should store user input, which I will take with the help of scanner class like this. Once these loops finish executing, all the numbers entered by the user will be stored in ARR row-wise. After this, we will display the array in matrix form like this. We discussed printing the array in matrix form in the last lesson. So if you don't fully understand this part of the program, then please go through the declaration and initialization of double-dimensional array lesson. Our program is ready. Let's execute it now. I will enter the number of rows as 3 and number of columns also as 3. So the dimensions of my array are 3 by 3 and I need to enter 9 elements. Let's enter the numbers now. It correctly displays the array in matrix form. As we saw in the example earlier, these first 3 numbers that I entered form the first row of the array. The next 3 numbers form the second row of the array. These last 3 numbers form the last row of the array. Let's try entering one more array. This time I want my array to have 3 rows and 2 columns. I need to enter 6 numbers now. The program printed this 3 by 2 array correctly in matrix form. I hope now you have a good understanding of creating double-dimensional array using new operator and accepting user input in it. I will see you in the next video. Bye.